It's not my chasing Omaha. Hey, welcome everybody to the Veteran Sports Voice Podcast. It is me, Sean Mercer, Coach Pops with Mr. McCants, just another biased Alabama fan. But hey, we welcome y'all today to the Veteran Sports Voice Podcast. Today is titled Controllers, Championships, and College Football Confessions. Basically, it's going to be two old guys reminiscing about something that a lot of this younger generation, and you'll understand at the end of this show, will never, ever get to know or get to understand about college football, or these young kids that you're trying to get to watch the sport nowadays will never get to fall in love with ball or their team the way that we did, and I will get into that. But first off, I am, like I said, Coach Pop, Sean Mercer, dual service veteran, U.S. Army and U.S. Navy. Got my guy Ian McCants, U.S. Navy veteran right here. Ian, welcome to the show, and everybody that's here watching us, welcome to the show. If you're already here, hit that subscribe button and let us know that you're there. That's how we get our message out. Mr. McCants, how you doing, brother?
Man, I'm doing great. And I got to say one thing. I think that we got the best intro on YouTube.
Oh, yeah. I started dancing along the way, baby.
And I'm hard to please. But, yeah, man, it just makes me want to, start freestyling. Next time, I'm going to leave with some bars.
Okay, let's go. Let's go. Hey, I appreciate Jamal Clay is on here with us from Athletes Forum Podcast.
Jamal.
And Jamal, while you here, call Snacks. Let everybody know. Y'all watch this, because if you're on here, I'm going to ask y'all some questions. I want y'all to interact, because this is going to be that show that's going to go back in time a little bit, that's going to hopefully remind you, all of us, of why we love college football. And right now, I'll be honest, people, I kind of need that. I promise I'm going to make some calls to some cohorts of mine that are up on the hill in Fayetteville that know about Arkansas, know what's going on. I'm doing this today to try to get excited, because bless my heart, I'm an Arkansas Razorback fan, and I already know I'm going to be disappointed by week 0. And so I'm trying to get right.
Man, no. I get what you're saying, but we can't be defeatist now.
Oh, I'm a defeatist.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, man, on NCAA 27, I don't know what their record is, but it's not, super bad.
Well, we'll get into it here when he said, but you know what? I will say this. Coach Silverfield has done for Arkansas, Ryan Silverfield has done the right things. It looks like he's turning some corners. It's going to take time. I just don't know if I have the patience for it anymore. Because people like, before, and people don't want to hear this. I was very fortunate that I got to be part of the Chad Morris era at the University of Arkansas. And people look back at that era and like, they got so much to say. But what people don't realize is Sam Pittman came in. The only years he was successful was he was using Chad Morris recruits. And then NIL came along, and he got his ass handed to him. And so is Hunter Yurachek. In my opinion, I think there needs to be a change at AD, and some things happen. But you know what? I am definitely going to give Coach Silverfield every honest shot, because the man deserves it. He stepped into something. I know what he stepped into. He flipped some good commits that had committed out of state somewhere that were 4 and 5 stars. He got them back in the fold, and he's out making some stuff. So we'll see where it goes. And I hope this year, at the end of the year, Arkansas is one of those teams that, Arkansas was that team that won some games they wasn't supposed to, but they were that team that no one wanted to play at the end of the year. So we'll see how it goes. But
the advantage right now that you experience as an Arkansas fan, at least you got a whole lot of promise in basketball.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
imagine these fan bases, man. They don't got nothing to look forward to. In fact, Arkansas, like, are you guys still track and field? Baseball, it's like, so it's a lot to keep you afloat while football gets figured out, man.
Oh yeah, it is. And you know what? And with that being said, congratulations to John Calipari. A lot of his guys, A-Cup went in the first round. Malik Thomas, Trayvon Brazile, all these guys, and they're playing in the summer league right now in the G League, and they are kicking ass. So good for them. Also, Arkansas Razorback baseball just set I know an SEC record, if not a national record, but they just had 12 guys drafted in the first 3 rounds of the Major League Draft. So good on Coach on Arkansas baseball there. And how many years do you give Silverfield? You know what, man? Jamal, in my opinion, you have to give the man at least 3 years. I would have said 4, but now with the transfer portal, look, I just want them to show improvement, because if they show improvement, the fan base at Arkansas will open their wallets and they will start donating money. But if they see the same product that they've been seeing for the last 2 years, it's going to be very, very hard.
I think that his success depends on the Missouris and the Kentuckys. Like, I think that a lot of Arkansas fans are, just like you, I'm not going to say defeatist, but does not know what to expect, right? And so you're not going to throw him up against a Georgia or even a LSU or Ole Miss or, or even a Florida, but they better be better than, the Vandy's and the Missouris and, stuff like that. They better be better than them fast, sort of grabbing at the heels of that next tier, man. And so, in my opinion, because I think 3 years, that's conventional wisdom. That's the way that it was always done, man. But, this new landscape is so different. You don't get it, and then, you have a lot of these guys winning, after 1 year. And so I don't know, man. I think that, it's a good, realistic, reasonable fan base, as long as, they're not feeling that he's, slipping into the basement of the SEC. So, that's just my opinion on it.
Well, the second game of the season is going to be a good true test. They're going to Salt Lake. They're playing Utah. And so, and look, I've even said this on the what is it, Snacks and Clay show the other day. I'm calling it an upset. Even though I don't know what to expect. I just know Utah had a hell of a turnover with coaches, players. Half their players went to Michigan. Dude, that's
Arkansas win that game. How many times have we done this, right? And just think about, back through the history of the SEC playing, one of these other conferences, right? So we have the elites, right? So we have the Alabama against somebody, the LSU against, but we don't want to feel like homers. And so we expect that Arkansas to lose against whoever and they usually end up winning those games, man. And I don't have no stats, but just think, that it'll be some ugly, grinded out victory. And then you're feeling stupid, like, man, I should have took SEC across the board, And so I can see that happening.
No, you called it. I'll never forget. One of the things that me and you bonded over was, you remember our buddy on that summer, Chris Hartfield? You remember him?
Yeah.
Big Texas Longhorn fan, and we were going down there into Austin to play them that year. SEC versus the big whatever they were, the Big 12 or Big 8, Big 12, whatever they were in 2004. But we call that game the ambush in Austin. Matt Jones went. That's where basically Matt Jones introduced himself as a true freshman against him, and you called it
very Vince-like.
Yeah, you called it. You were like, boy, you gotta have faith in your team, Sean. They're gonna beat Texas, and I'm like, and they did. So
they did.
Yeah. Well, but this podcast right here is one of the ones. Like, I got Chris here. He's our producer. I might get him to come on so he can show off his new look. But you know what, Jamal, if you got time, jump in on StreamYard, bud. I'm inviting you to come on StreamYard because I got some questions that I'd love to ask you that go back in the day that you're going to absolutely love. So if you got time, Jamal, I'm inviting you to jump on this show with us right now. And Snacks, any of you guys, Austin, Adam, any of you guys are out there, y'all watching this, jump on the show with me right now. And guys, if there's anybody out here watching and you haven't said, hey, you know what, get interactive with us. We're going to ask some questions. Throw your answer out there. Let us know. We definitely want to know. So with that being said, I'm going to pull off now because Ian's been playing EA Sports College Football 27, and he said he's been surprised about it. I have not played the game. I have not played it. I'm going to wait. So Ian, this is you, Maestro. Tell me all about it.
Yeah, man. So initially I was very impressed. I was very impressed. I didn't play it a whole lot last year. This is the thing, man. Like, these kids have sucked the life out of these games, the fun out of them, right? Because, they're not running anything like legitimate plays, or they don't know their teams, the tendencies. They just know, okay, I can glitch and I can make the receiver move this. And so it's indefensible on both NCAA as well as NBA. And that drives me crazy, man. So I quit. But this year I was like, I'm gonna pick it up and I'm gonna put some time into it, and I'm gonna learn, the read my coverages and all that type of stuff, man. So initially I was having a lot of fun, man. And another thing about these games, man, like, I like to cheat myself. I like blowouts, man. Like, I don't need no simulation. I don't need no 10-7. Alabama barely beating Auburn on the Plains. I want 58-3. So I moved the sliders, man. And so all my players are 100s, right? So I have a 100 quarterback, 100 running back, 100, like everything. And then I take the computer down to like 25. so like, it's so unrealistic. Now, I don't play on easy or rookie. I play on varsity. I'm not even on All-American or Heisman. I'm on varsity, right? And so what I do, I'll play with Alabama, and I'll jump out like 42-3 in like 3 minutes in the first quarter, and then like I'll simulate the rest of the game so the computer will sort of balance everything out. But I got my fix of blowing the teams out with Alabama, right? And so I'm enjoying it, man. And the thing about it is, to me, Alabama was ranked kind of low overall. Now, as far as the defense, man, great defense. And, I think it's legitimately earned. I think overall in that game, they're like number 5 in the nation, 89 overall. And they got the best players rated highly. You got Xavier Brown, the guy with the pick 6 against Tennessee, in real life. He's rated in the 90s. You also have Keon Sabb, who's rated number 90. So anyway, man, I am rolling along. I'm blowing teams out. And, then I get to Tennessee, right? And so
wait. Let me stop right there. So that means if you're at Tennessee, this means you already played LSU at Tiger Stadium down in Death Valley. So what happened there?
I don't know if LSU was before or after Tennessee, but I'm far enough along to tell you I was up like 42-3 in the first quarter on LSU. It didn't matter. Right. They had the little simulation, Lane Kiffin, the Tiger, everything rocking. It's at night, 8:30. I'm just plowing through them, man, making Keelan Russell look like every All-American quarterback ever. Daniel Hill, I don't even know who he is. And I got like 300 rushing yards in the first quarter. So just plowing through people, man. But I don't want to skip over that Tennessee game. So this is what's happening. I'm blowing teams out, man. And I'm playing Tennessee. And it's almost like the game was like, nope, you're not going to beat them. And nothing I did mattered, man. It's like my team is jumping off sides, and they're, getting pass interference penalties, and, I'm hitting X and my man won't hike the ball, and it's like false starts, and I score, they score, I score, they score. And a lot of my scores are lucky, they're wide open, man. And it don't matter what I could be prevent defense, drop everybody back, and the guy's still gonna complete the pass. And I'm like, is whoever's on the video game, do they have him in real life? And no, they don't. I'm sitting there, I'm Googling who is Tennessee's quarterback, and I think they're trusting the 18-year-old true freshman, but it's not the guy that's on that video game. I can't even remember the name, but he was carving me up. And so anyway, I somehow ended up winning that game, and it just left me so befuddled, man, because I was like, how in the world? We've talked about that in real life, Sean, we're like that Tennessee game for Alabama is going to be a doozy. It's going to be a doozy. Like we could see that one being a loss. And I'm high on Alabama next year. And it's almost like the game did, it was like, Tennessee's going to beat Alabama, and it doesn't matter if you're cheating and you got all the slides this way. It does not matter. Like that game literally, came down to the, I just happened to have the ball last and I ended up winning. And so I was like, we're in this age of AI and stuff like that. And so it just made me feel kind of like, I never thought of EA and the NCAA being in the bed together like that, man. But that's what's going on here. They're programming us. You think about it, man. We're talking about having this game and it's reality and realism. Realism of what? The stuff that we complain on in this podcast all the doggone time. Now you gotta pay players. Now they can flip. It's verbal. Now you already had a portal, but you gotta allocate all these expenses. And so just like I said, the cream rises to the top. So like if I'm playing with Alabama, I got enough to go around. I got enough to hire coaches and improve my facilities and pay the players and stuff like that. But if I'm at UAB, I got to pick and choose, man. So guess what? The Alabamas will always be, up there. And so it's crazy, but I just realized the programming is so intense that they will override me cheating in order to maintain in my head who Alabama is according to this bogus preseason ranking that there is. They want me to think that, Oregon's head and shoulders better than everybody, and Indiana's head and shoulders better than everybody, and Ohio State and Alabama's number 12, and they're going to lose to Tennessee. It don't matter what you do, like it's going to be just as unbelievable as what you're doing to everybody else in the schedule. And I don't know how I feel about that, man. That's too much. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I want to feel like I'm really blowing those teams out, and the game wouldn't let me, man. So what type of AI? I looked it up. It's like AI rubber banding or something like that. But it's programming. It's programming. And, like EA, I'm disappointed because I believed in y'all, man. I thought that y'all were really about, the players, and y'all worked this deal out, with the players. And then you have, everybody else. And when I say players, I mean players of the game. They worked something out with the real players or whatever. But now I see, man, they're just a cog in a machine just programming us, man. You can't even cheat your way to results with them. And so I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about it. So what about you? Have you played the game? Have you tried it?
I have not played 27 at all. I've got 26, and I just haven't. But I bought 26 later, so I kind of feel like, well, damn, now I got to buy 27. I like so, but I will, and I will. I will. So what? So what? If I'm not mistaken, what Tennessee. Didn't they hired Jim Knowles as the defensive coordinator?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if I remember Knowles a little bit, he's very complex, disguise heavy defense. If he's the coach I'm thinking about, usually like a 4-2-5. Oh yeah, my producer over here is shaking his head, nodding his head. Yeah. So gosh, so that means a lot. So you know what, Tennessee though, from what I've seen, what I've read, the little bit I have read on them, and I forgot Knowles was that, but he's a real disguise heavy. Dude, that might be one of those. Dude, that might be one of those defenses you don't want to play. Tennessee very well might be that team you don't want to play.
Man. I mean, that's a doozy. You can't even call that a trap game. I mean, I think they played Georgia the week before, and then you have to go to Knoxville. And, I don't know, man. I mean, that's like game 6. I mean, whoever's under center is going to have some experience. And just being in that stadium, man, I think due to enhancements, a lot of the stadiums are catching or have caught Tennessee Stadium. But at one time, man, that was the biggest stadium in the nation, right? It was like 122,000. I think that they very regularly register on a Richter scale whenever they made, plays, man. I remember one year, UAB, the school I went to, they beat Tennessee one year in Knoxville, man. But a lot of dudes, they reminisced about that. It was like, it was crazy. Like, it felt like we were on a aircraft carrier with a jet engine or something like that, man. So yeah, that's a doozy of a game. And the video game that I'm playing let me know that.
Right, I got you.
So there's some type of program, and they, these aren't just some guys creating games here, because they have communicated with, the NCAA, and there's some type of wiring in there, man. You're not supposed to, overcome that, and so it was just eerie. Like, I'm blowing all these teams out, but when it came to Tennessee and that particular game, like it looked like they had me on easy.
Right.
So I don't know, man. It was just weird.
Well, we got Jamal says 4.25 is the 4.3 base. This generation is all about speed now, but that's the way it is.
Yeah.
And you're right. But I think offenses are going to start transitioning back to, well, kind of the way we grew up watching the old, maybe not 3 yards in a cloud of dust, like back in the day. But you know what? But how do you beat that? And Jamal said, when's the last time you saw a Necro? Dog, man. Honestly, the last time I saw a Necro would have been like Penn State back when they were legitimately linebacker U.
We're talking about the Necro, the actual.
Yeah, the Necro, man.
When the last time you watching some old clips of Brian Bosworth or something, then he used to wear the Necro.
Oh yeah, man. Everybody used to wear it. Yeah, man. Yeah. But you know what? What beats speed? If you can, you know what? Mass. You got to get some mass, push those little fellas out of the way and do it. And it's for quarterback, this is going to be an interesting year. And I didn't mean to get off on a Tennessee tangent, but since we're there, this is going to be an interesting year for Heupel, man, just because Heupel's got, what you said, George McIntyre and then Faison Brandon. He's a 5-star true freshman. He's 6'4", about 225 pounds. But then you got a redshirt freshman, McIntyre, 6'6", 208 pounds. Everybody like said Heupel was a quarterback whisperer. Well, he's got 2 freshmen. He's going to have to whisper a lot this year. So we're going to see. Yeah. But now, with that being said, Tennessee fans, I got faith in Heupel. He's going to put the right guy out there, and he's going to put his quarterbacks in the right position. Now, whether or not his quarterback can execute the way he wants, at the beginning, time will tell. But we shall see.
Heupel's issue is not his schemes or his X's and O's and none of that. It's the way he looks. Like, you can't take him serious, man. Like, you can't expect these 19 and 20-year-olds to be intimidated by Jabba the Hutt. They don't even remember Return of the Jedi. So it's like, that's the issue, man. That's the issue. He just needs to hit the treadmill. Like, he could run things, but you think about it, and I'm joking, but I'm not. Like, I think I remember watching, was it the Blind Side, Sandra Bullock, and she kept talking about how handsome Nick Saban was. You think that didn't matter?
Right.
You think that didn't matter? So if I got Nick Saban against Josh Heupel, and the tiebreaker is the mom, that kid going to Alabama 10 out of 10 times, man. So
right.
Oh, I'm just saying, we got to be realistic, man.
You say that, and I know why and I understand it, but I don't think I'm sure I'm remembering correctly, but he's a Heisman winning quarterback at Oklahoma. Was he not?
Kids don't care.
Was he not? So
these kids tell me every day that LeBron is better than Jordan, man. They don't care what.
Past don't care. Hey, with that being said, we got quite a few viewers on here right now. I really want to say I appreciate you guys being on here. And hey, if this is your first time on here and you're on YouTube right here, hey, do us a favor, man. Hit that subscribe button. Help us get our message out there. We're growing little bits every day, and one subscription at a time. Help us out. And hey, if you're on X right now and you're watching us on X, move on over to YouTube. Come on over there. Hit that subscribe button. Hit us out. Make my guy Chris down there behind the scenes smile by hitting that subscribe button for us. And with that being said, if you're cool with it, I'm going to pivot into the next segment right now with this because
absolutely.
we talked about this. We talked about Heupel. You know, I remember watching Heupel quarterback, and
Me too.
the dude could ball. The dude could absolutely ball.
Man, how differently the game has changed. You got to think about the quarterbacks winning the Heisman in that era, man. Like, wasn't there a Jason White?
Right.
You remember Jason White? You had Heupel, you had Bradford,
Sam Bradford, White.
You just had these like quarterbacks, they wouldn't sniff it these days, man. It's just amazing how the game has changed, man. But yeah, I definitely remember Heupel, you know, winning that game, and he doesn't even look the same. That's what I'm saying, man. You look at some of them old clips, and then you look at him as a coach, you like, okay, I see maybe the tip of the nose. Yeah, that was the same guy.
Not the tip
Outside
of the nose.
That is not the same guy, you know. So he can't even use that as a credential, like,
right?
On the Heisman in 03. They're like, they don't care, man. Like, you looking like you a French fry away from a bypass, you know. So I think he just needs to take a little like pride in his personal appearance, man, because that matters, man. It's like you're looking for anything today to have a competitive advantage. If you don't have like the unlimited funds like some of these teams do, man, so you better have a coach that looked the part, and he just don't look the part to me.
No, and you're right. Who was it? And we were talking about this too. Another coach. It was like you were literally like, "There's no way in hell I'm letting that coach in my living room and talk to my kid." You know, we've gone through this before.
You better put on your best, because it's like my kid been putting on the best for at least 6 years. You know. And so we grinding, you know, we going to 2-3 days, we driving around. So yeah, at this point, impress me. And I'm not impressed visually by Josh Heupel compared to Nick Saban. It's not even close. I'm like, you don't even like your life. You don't like football. You don't like your life because you don't look like it. And you want me to give you my son when I can get the same thing over here by this old handsome guy that I know is going to be, you know, he's going to be the center of attention in all the rooms. And I want my son to be around that, you know. And so it's not even the decision, man. So, you know, I mean, hey, man, you look for anything to give you an advantage. And it's 2 thumbs down for the way he looks.
Right. Well, he must be doing something right, though. But he's got the head coaching job at Tennessee, and he's doing better than Arkansas, so that's all I can say. That's all I can say. But, you know, that does bring up something, though, you know, and so I pitched this idea at you because and this is the part, people, where I'm trying to get excited. So next week I can bring you a show previewing my Arkansas Razorbacks and bring a little excitement to it. And so, you know, I got to asking you, you know, so people don't know this, but I think we met around 2003, 2004 is when you and I first met.
Yeah, 3, 4.
In Kingsland, Georgia, at Kings Bay Naval Submarine Base. And one of the things that brought us together that we bonded over was college football. Not just college football, but SEC football, right? And at that point, there was college football, and then there was, at that time, there was SEC football. SEC was starting its dominance at that point, like really setting the standard. I mean, there had been Gene Stallings, there had been some things in there, but, you know, it was getting serious at that point, you know. And now, and you said it earlier, you said, man, it's just the game has changed so much. Like, hell, man, I remember when a quarterback could get dropped on an option play, like, whoop, he pissed the ball. Oh, he going to get smacked. He going to get smacked. Now you get a 15-yard penalty if you even look at the quarterback wrong. And then you got this bull crap, which I understand, but I don't understand. When you come in, and I've seen it be accidental, but you know what? It's football. When you hit the quarterback in the knee. What the hell kind of crap is that? It's automatic 15-yard. So, but then we look at these new kids and the way the transfer portal and everything's working. And you know what? And Chris is back here, our producer, and Jamal, I know you're watching. And you know, there is a new generation of college football young kids growing up that will never ever fall in love with the teams like we did, like fall in love with the players, like the players,
Right.
like there
Right.
were players that defined Arkansas football. There are players that defined Alabama football. There are players that defined UGA football. You know, there's somebody from each team I can remember that I remember just played like lights out. You know, like Georgia. I think Eric Zier. Remember that kid? You remember him?
Oh,
Dude,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
I watched that kid have a game
Yeah.
one time, and it wasn't against Arkansas, but I watched that kid have a game one time, and I thought it was probably one of the best college games I ever saw a
I
quarterback
think
have.
Zaire might have been on the same team as Kirby.
Was he?
That mid-90s. Yeah, I think so. Maybe so, you know.
Uh-huh.
Yep, same time frame.
You know, it comes to, Jamal's right here. You know, I can sit back. I can remember. I'll name a player, Danny Werfel, but the old ball coach, old ball coach defined Florida football, and they've been looking for somebody ever since. You know, they have been. Auburn. You know, hell, I remember Tommy Tuberville, but I remember Auburn. Who was it? Tommy Bowden probably had one of the best damn seasons. Didn't get a national championship out of it. Had what was his name? Bo Nix's dad was the quarterback.
Yeah. They
for that team.
Patrick Nix.
Pat
You know,
Nix,
that's
right.
You know, it's crazy, man. It was like that Auburn team, and I hate Auburn. Anybody that knows me know that. But I admired them because they were the only team that was stand toe-to-toe with Florida, man. Like that was like Steve Spurrier, Florida. You know, like they're steamrolling everybody, man, including like Alabama, man. Like it just always seemed, even some of the times that we beat Florida, that we were just kind of lucky, to win that game early on, man. But man, it just seemed like Florida, if they had to go to Auburn, like I remember it was like a Terry Beasley, I think, was a running back that Auburn had, Patrick Nix or whatever, and they would just stand there toe-to-toe with Florida, man. And so, I had to give a shout out to those Auburn teams, man, because if it wasn't for them, wasn't nobody putting up resistance to Florida in the SEC in those years,
Exactly. And we got Jamal with college football. I think more about players and teams. Teams is like a cherry on top, but I know about USC players than the last natty they won.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. I got you.
But I'll tell you my issue real quick. And this is the reason why I'd never liked the NFL. I cannot cheer for Cam Newton under no circumstance. Like he was my enemy. He was on my rival. I cannot cheer for him. It's like that in college now, man. Like, how can you have a love or loyalty for a team when the guy that you're cheering for them to beat could be on your team next year, man? And that right there is what just took it for me,
Right. No, and you're right. There's just so much, because back then players stayed with their teams, like Rex
Grossman.
Rex Grossman, Jabbar Gaffney. I remember Jabbar Gaffney. That dude could catch everything, man.
I like those Florida teams, man, but I'm gonna tell you, Jamal, like it was a difference. Like we saw Florida as being invincible. So like I'm trying to remember, you had Danny Werfel, but before Werfel, the quarterback that started, wasn't it like Terry Dean or something like that? Then you go to Werfel, but after him, it's almost like they never got that guy again until Tebow. Like they got a lot of good guys. Like I remember, Grossman and Chris Leak, and who was the guy that was on the Bachelor? Shoot, I forgot his name, but they had a lot of good guys, but Florida did not feel invincible the way they felt during it. Like, man, it's like they had that swagger, man. It was like, it's like, I'm an Alabama fan and I love Alabama, but our swagger was very business like we're gonna stomp you out till you stop breathing. like Florida, like they were arrogant, man. Like, you know, Steve Spurrier, like, I'm gonna keep throwing this ball. I don't care if it's 60-3, do something to stop it. That's what it was like, man. And I loved it. I loved it. It's like they definitely took the identity of him. And that's the Florida I liked. You know, I didn't like that Urban Meyer Florida. Like, even though, you know, hindsight is 2020 and they were dominant at the time, you're not surprised when you hear all the stuff that comes out now about the way that team was ran, man. And you know, it's a you know, a very thin line between like arrogance and audacity, you know. And I like the arrogance of that early Florida, that Urban Meyer, man. I don't like it. I don't respect it. And to me, he punked out. He doesn't get enough, you know, people put him under the microscope about, you know, these chest pains that come when Nick Saban embarrass you on public TV, you know. And so that's what I think of Urban Meyer. I don't want to hear nothing that he says about anybody. You know, this man has gotten away with a fake heart attack. He's gotten away with infidelity, and he want to tell me anything about college football? Sit down, Urban.
Well, you know, and you know what? And you left out a quarterback, because I remember watching this kid from the sidelines, and it was during the COVID year, but Kyle Trask. That was probably one of the
Trask.
Dude, that kid. He finished third or something like that in the Heisman. I think he's at Atlanta now, Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
But he, God, who was there? Oh my God, who was? What's it? Felipe Franks, I think.
Felipe Franks. Yeah. And, like I said, a lot of good guys, man. But just imagine if Cam had played for Florida.
Oh yeah.
They had him on their roster.
Yeah. Yeah, they did. And Felipe Franks came to Arkansas during that time.
Yeah,
it was a hell of a good. That was a hell of a good dude. And he is. I wish, honestly, I wish Arkansas had 11 Felipe Franks on the field, because that kid's heart was just, you could not measure what that kid had in heart. I'm telling you right now, that kid did not quit. He would not quit. Just a good kid, good athlete. Really liked him a lot. But you know, it got me to thinking about the memories. You know, like people. Golly, you know what? I can remember. So I'm gonna go a little personal here. So I was adopted when I was 5 years old. After I got out of kindergarten, I was adopted when I was 5 years old. I remember staying at my foster parents during that time, going to kindergarten. And I remember them at 5 talking about the Arkansas Razorbacks. That was the only team we had, was the Razorbacks. That was it. We didn't have a professional team. All I knew was the Arkansas Razorbacks are tough. And I'd get out in the yard, but they're tough. I want to be an Arkansas Razorback. And my foster parents just thought that was the most funniest thing, and people loved it. But I remember my foster father, his name was Willard Jewell. He's passed away now. But he would, whenever there was a game that would come on TV and he could watch it, he would watch it. And I'd be right there with him. You know, I remember what was it? The 78 Orange Bowl, I think it was, where Lou Holtz suspended 3 of our best players. We're playing number 1 Oklahoma in the Orange Bowl, and we beat the hell out of them, dude. Like 38-6 or 31-6. Dude, we beat the hell out of them. With Rolando Sales had one of the best rushing games he ever had, and it stood for 30 years until Darren McFadden came along 30 years and broke that single game rushing record. You know, against, so just memories like that. You remember, you know, David Basil, who was a big ambassador for Arkansas football, played linebacker. You know, he was on an 85 team that in the Southwest Conference, they did not allow 1 rushing touchdown in 1985. And just, you know, things like that. But, you know, I remember these players, David Basil, you know, the late Ron Mallett. I was so blessed to get to meet that guy and get to be there on the field, you know, when he came back one time, and he just gave me some inspirational words, and I don't know if I'll ever share with anybody, but he was just amazing guy. He went way too early. Of course, who you know, everybody knows Darren McFadden, Felix Jones, Peyton Hillis, the 3 horsemen right there. You know, and you know, McFadden should have won the Heisman that one year that they gave it to Tebow for the second time, which was absolute crap. Like, but you know, I'm thinking about things like that to try to get me back. So these kids will never get to see a player for 4 years. Like,
Yeah.
they can, but that kid's going to be a real oddity if he stays at one team for 4 years, right?
Right.
So I feel sorry for these kids right now, that they don't they're not going to fall in love with their teams. And I think Jamal said it best. The teams are cherry on the top. The players is who I fell in love with.
Right.
Like, I'm not a big pro football anything, but let an Arkansas Razorback player go, or let an SEC player go that really caught my eye. Like the Brandon Finney kid from Oregon up there. I can't wait to see what that cornerback does in the NFL. I will keep my eye on him. And yes, Hillis was the cover there for Madden. And you know what? There's something to that, because people don't realize this, but a couple years ago, Peyton Hillis almost drowned at Florida at the ocean, damn near drowned. There.
What?
Yeah, man. He jumped in to saved 2 kids' life, but he almost drowned in the process.
Well, that figures.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I knew it had to be something like that.
Yep. He almost drowned in the ocean, saved 2 kids' life, but he almost drowned. And then, of course, Ryan Mallett did drown out there, out in the Gulf right there, So, no, but with that being said, going back to Alabama.
Hold on, you said Ryan Mallett drowned?
Yes. Yeah, he drowned.
The former the big armed quarterback.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yes. He drowned probably 2-3 years ago, I guess it was. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Mallett passed away.
Wow.
Yeah. Sure
Yeah.
did. And it was so cool because he had taken a job in Harrison, Arkansas with the Goblins as the offensive coordinator. He did extremely well, and he got picked up at Whitehall, just outside of Pine Bluff, to be the head coach.
If you guys had a combined Matt Jones and Ryan Mallett into one quarterback, you would have had back-to-back national championships.
I don't know. Look, I love them both, man. I love both of them. But I even told, because me and Mallett got to talk one day. We got serious talk. Mallett had an incident that happened to him in the NFL when he was with the Texans. He missed the damn plane to go to Jacksonville to play the game, and he was the starting quarterback.
Oh,
how do you miss the damn plane? And I told him, I was like, dude, I said, you've always had $1 million arm, but boy, you've had a 10-cent brain at times. And he just laughed and hugged me, and he was like, Coach, ain't nobody ever told me like that before. He said, but I've grown up a lot since then. I said, well, I'm glad. And but I will tell you this. I watched Ryan Mallett sit on the 50-yard line on his knees and throw a rope into the end zone to one of our receivers from his knees.
You know who I used to see do that? T. Martin.
Yeah,
and it's crazy. Even though the Vols, won a championship, his arm talent wasn't really respected. But he was the original Jamarcus Russell. Then Jamarcus came and just sort of became the darling down there in Mobile, man. But I totally agree, man. And it's sad because when it didn't feel transactional, and see, that's the thing here. Nobody wants to feel like something's transactional. And so same situation, like I'm from an area, we didn't have pro teams. We had the Falcons to one side and the Saints to the other side, and they both sucked. And I think that's what made you and I close. Like I hate fair weather fans. I hate bandwagon fans. And remove all the Saban success. When you and I met, I was still arrogant, but it was about a whole bunch of championships that happened before segregation, And so really, like, how many, I was not alive for one, even though I claim it. That was 79. The next one's 92. I'm very aware of that, And so, we didn't have anything. And so, I hated watching people that were all of a sudden Texas fans and USC fans and whoever was, hot and popular back then, because I'm Alabama, win, lose, or draw, if I remember correctly, like this is right during that fear the thumb, and so we're losing. And so, I meet you and you're just as passionate about Arkansas that I am Alabama, and I respected that, man. And then of course, we had the great run. going forward. But it's so many things that I remember. And, the funny thing is where I'm from is on the Florida border. And so, back then during my formative years, it was Florida State, Miami, Florida. And I like Florida State. They had Charlie Ward, and before him, Peter Tom Willis, and Derek Brooks was from, that Pensacola area and things like that. And I like the tomahawk chop, and all that. And I felt for them, with the wide lefts or wide rights or whatever it was. But, when things took off for me, was when, my cousin was an All-America for Bama, Keith McCants. And, I like those Auburn guys back then. They had quarterback Reggie Slack and Alexander Wright and stuff like that, and so I was around all of them as young boys. But, long story short, man, I take off with Keith, and now we're with Gene Stallings, and, I got two connections to the team. So his offensive coordinator, who was Woodrow McCorvey, who was Clemson's assistant AD, he was Gene Stallings' offensive coordinator. That was my mother's high school classmate. On top of that, you had Jeff Torrance, who played for Alabama, and he was recruited, by Stallings. He was from my hometown, and me and his brother were best friends. So I'm there, and I'm watching Kevin Lee and David Palmer race, and I'm around George Teague and and all them, and I'm seeing Michael Proctor, who is, so hooked on cigarettes that he has to wear patches or he's going to miss every kick because he, trembles that bad. And so those are the type of things that we got to experience. And then, my first memory was going to Starkville, and, we're playing Mississippi State, and we had Sherman Williams and we had Derek Lassick on our teams, but we had this hard-nosed running back named Chris Anderson. And he's the reason why we beat Mississippi State in Starkville. It wouldn't have been no championship. We were about to lose that game. Like, they were ahead of us, and so we win that game. Then we go on, and then we know the whole story about the SEC and, Antonio Langham, standing there and picking off Shane Matthews. That's what I was thinking about.
Shane Matthews. That's it. Yep.
And, taking that to the house, and that changed the course, of the SEC as we know it, man. And so, we have those type of memories, and, I think that the kids won't get to experience it. Yeah, they'll be patriotic, and yeah, they'll love their team that their daddy loved, but I don't know if it will mean everything to them, because how can it when it feels so transactional? And so, that's just how I feel.
Well, I'll tell you something that was really funny, and I didn't tell you this because I was going to wait to tell you. So I was talking to my son, which you probably he was in the fourth grade at the time, Dakota, when we were stationed down there. I was talking to my son the other day, and he goes, Dad, it's because of you and Ian that I fell in love with LSU football, college football. He's like, I used to watch it. He's from originally, he went to school in Louisiana, graduated. Anyway, he became an LSU. He's an LSU fan. And he's like me. I'll root for LSU when they're not playing Arkansas, and vice versa. He'll do the same. But, I think that was that during Matt Flynn? I know that was during, who was it? It wasn't Saban. It was, the jackass that was there.
Was it Jerry DiNardo?
No. After Saban.
Now this was after Saban. Are you talking about Les Miles?
Les Miles. Yeah, that was because wait, no. Saban was not there in 2004 at Alabama, was he?
He 05.
05. Okay.
So you're talking about Alabama's coach. You're talking about Mike Shula.
Who was it that won? No, I'm trying to think of who won the LSU won a national championship that year. I just didn't know if it was Les Miles or if that was Saban.
Maybe that was Les, because he beat Saban early on.
Right.
And so he had them, they were all excited. They was like, we found the perfect replacement, and I give Les his credit. Les was just not stupid enough to mess up was already in place. But when Saban got them legs, you saw what happened. And I was thinking very much about what, Jamal talked about, that 4-2-5 and stuff like that. And it's funny to me because I remember when the shift happened. And so it's funny because if we were built to beat LSU, you know, and I remember that team. I remember that year where, you know, we're number 1 and they're number 2 or whatever, and they beat us 9-6. And I'm still mad about that because that's one of the few times where I see a ball in the air. You got Marquise Mays against, you know, LSU's defender, and for some reason the tie goes to the defensive guy. I thought the tie always goes to the offensive guy, but they beat us, right? And that's that Honey Badger team and all that. And then we go in there and we demolish them very slowly, you know, in the national championship game. And this field goal after field goal after field goal, and then finally Trent Richardson scores, man. But yeah, you know, I'm just sad that, you know, even someone Dakota's age, you know, they just won't understand that type of thing, because we can talk about it so passionately, man, and don't even have to think about it. But it's like, you know, like I said, these kids these days, they don't even know who's going to be on their team.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing. And it was 2003. That's the first year we were there. Coached by Nick Saban, LSU went 13-1. They beat Oklahoma 21-14. But Dakota fell in love. He said that LSU team, that national championship game, I let him stay up, you know, let him stay up and watch that game. He's like, Dad, he goes, I fell in love with LSU and college football at that time. And now, like last year, I don't even think he watched a game, because he's like, I don't even know the teams. I don't even know who's on the team anymore. He goes, it's horrible. So, you know, so I guess, hey, parents, if you're out there, you're old school like we are, sit down and tell your kids about some of these kids that defined and made who your team is. Because unless they just get like a legacy player that ain't going nowhere else, they get that, you know, a team gets that one player that like they ain't going to let him go nowhere, and they just going to throw everything at him, you know, all the money in the world. He going to go somewhere else. And so
why not? Why not? Because, you know, everybody's feeling the pressure. You know, we're talking about the coaches, but the players feel it too. And, you know, it's not a free for all for them, man. Their pressure is going to ramp up, just like with the NFL. They got they don't have 3 years to learn, you know, and so they're thinking that, you know, they have to produce in that 1 year. And then, you know, so now we got a true freshman. And before it was understood that, you know, maybe you come in as a red shirt freshman and then maybe start as a junior. But now, man, these guys are trying to start as true freshmen, you know, they're out of there, you know, they're out of there. And so, like I say, man, I don't get excited about much anymore. I don't get excited about recruiting. You know, right now, Alabama has a couple of big time commits, but their quarterback room looks really stuffed. Okay, so we're talking about, I want to say they're maybe their 28 class, but they have this 5-star guy out of Baton Rouge, I think, named Elijah Haven, and they just got this 4-star who committed, and then they have this Alabama, you know, guy that's killing it in Alabama. But we got Russell there and Mac, and so, you know, these guys are gonna leave. And before, I used to be real excited, like, oh my God, like we got the #1 quarterback room in the nation. But you can't be excited about that anymore.
No.
And so
remember when watching recruiting was the big thing? Like, oh, where's this kid gonna sign with? Now it don't even matter.
Let me tell you, like Alabama had, like, I would subscribe to this board called Bama Online, and they had this lady named Fax Cam Girl, and she wore this houndstooth little tight dress, and all you could see was like here down, and she stood behind a fax machine because the real fans knew, and this was before the switching of the hats and all that. The real fans knew it didn't matter what they said. All that mattered was that letter of confirmation coming by fax, and until then, they were not on the team. And so we literally would sit there and watch faxes come through to fill out our class. And then once that fax came through, there was like, letter of intent is in, you know, with this person. But then it became this huge production with, you know, the switching the hats and flipping and mamas getting mad on, you know, it's just crazy, man. But yeah, I miss those days. And I would take off work.
Oh, yeah.
For 2 reasons. If Alabama played in the Natty, I was no good the next day, and I wanted to see those faxes come through from Fax Cam Girl. And we don't get excited about stuff like that anymore, man.
Right. Well, Jamal, I know you said you're here, and if you're here, shoot us a message real fast. Hey, we got some viewers on here. Throw something in the comments. What is the memory of your team or college football that just like you can still remember to this day that defines you as a college football fan.
I got something for Jamal. I know when I knew Alabama made it when Tebow cried on that sideline as he was getting his scalp caressed by one of them Pouncey twins. That's when I knew we made it. And you know, and look, Jamal, it's all a good fun, but really, I tell you what I think about Florida, you know, and like I said, man, they were like Darth Vader in the SEC, and you did not. And somehow, you know, Alabama won a few games, and you know, it continued, man. So yeah, no hate, you know, with Florida, but I do remember just as a fan with a competing team, I remember when they lost that level of invincibility. And to me, you know, it was after Spurrier left, and they just felt beatable at that point.
So I got Chris right here. What is this? 2000? Come on, Chris, jump on here and tell us about it, baby. Talk to us. Come on, don't be scared.
He's talking about the 2007 UGA Auburn blackout. Let's talk about that 2007 Alabama Georgia blackout.
Yeah, no. We're not talking about that.
No, but you can't.
See,
Georgia's one of them teams I absolutely respect. Kirby Smart, because you know what? How many years did oh God, I can see the guy. What was the former coach? Chris, the former coach of Georgia.
Mark Richt.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah, Mark Richt.
Mark Richt. Great dude. Love the guy. Just, you know, you always hoped he was going to win the big one. He just didn't. But you know what? They were so.
And he should have.
He should have.
And look, and Chris, you know me, I'm realistic. But that Georgia Alabama one where we had AJ McCarron and who did you get? Was it Aaron Murray?
Yeah, Aaron Murray.
It was just some bad time management. Yep. But you got that was the natty right there.
It was. That was the most heartbreaking game.
You talk about like missed moments, but Mark Richt would still be your coach with 10 more seconds on the clock.
Yeah.
But you know, but the thing is look what Kirby Smart is doing. He's flipped that script. Now everybody's chasing Georgia, including Florida. You know, so yeah.
Say that again. Say that again, Pops.
What's that?
Say again.
Say that again.
What did he flip the script that Kirby Smart flipped?
Just remind
that now even Florida's chasing Georgia right now, trying to do, and that's the facts. It really is. But you know what? I remember for many years when it was everybody chasing Florida. You know, the East was the East, and the West was just trying to catch up.
But I remember that play, Jamal, that he's talking about Ted again taking, and if I remember correctly, he got like hit and then he bounces and then he just out of there, and it's like 7-0, you know, Ohio State, and we like ooh, and then Florida walked the dog on them the rest of the game, man. And so yeah, that was very impressive. But yeah, I remember him taking that kickoff back, and you know, we thought it was going to be something, and Florida showed up that night.
Yeah, I remember Sean Marino getting that kissed. I remember that one. Yeah,
I remember that one too.
Dude, Brandon Spikes didn't play around, dude. That was one dude I'm not sure I wanted to be hit with. Him and LeVar Arrington looked like two dudes that could bring the pain. Like seriously.
Mm-hmm.
If I remember correctly, and Jamal can tell me if I'm wrong, I think that game he's talking about with Spikes and Marino was on a Halloween Saturday, because sometimes during the Georgia-Florida game it'll fall on Halloween, and I believe it was Halloween, and it was my daughter's second Halloween, my oldest one, and I told my wife at the time to, hey, go take her trick-or-treating, I gotta watch this game and I'll catch up to y'all, and I never made it because by the time she got back I was just sitting there pouting the whole time. Like, what happened? I said Spikes is what happened.
But here's what I'll say now for Jamal. Who's pouting now? Who was pouting Who was pouting last year? You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, because like now, like I remember the year that Sam Pittman's first year when he came into town. I remember the game that we had with Georgia. I think it was like our first or second game at Fayetteville. And you know what? We held y'all in check for 3 quarters, and then y'all opened it up in the 4th quarter and won. But I was like, you know what? I know this team is not that bad. This team is going to be okay. And we were.
You know what I think of Pittman when I looked at him? I was like, that's a damn good coordinator.
Right.
But I never saw him as a head coach, man. Yeah, but I like Pittman.
Right. He was a hell of an offensive line and a hell of a recruiter. Absolute hell of a recruiter. Mm-hmm. So, But Chris, real fast, we got a few seconds here. What was the memory of UGA that sold you that I'm a UGA fan for life?
Oh man. Well, honestly, actually, what really sold me, it was my first game that my dad took me to. My dad was in military, similar to y'all, Air Force. He was stationed at Moody Air Force Base. He was getting stationed back to Texas, and it actually wasn't even any Pacific play or players or anything. But my dad, who was not a Georgia fan, said, "Hey, before I go to Texas, through the military, he would get discounts, as y'all guys probably know." So he had got some discounts for a Georgia Bulldog game. We grew up NFL fans. When I moved to South Georgia, didn't even know college football existed. And at that time, it was the 90s. It was Cowboys. It was like, that's it. And so my dad was like, "Hey, I'm fixing to have to go back to Texas. They're shipping me back to Texas. And let me take you to a Georgia game before I go." And we get up there in the Athens. And really, it was just the Athens that made me fall in love. And at the time, when I pulled up to Athens and I seen all these people outside, throwing footballs, tailgating, and I was like, "You don't see this in the NFL. Like, what is going on here?" And I didn't even know the team name, didn't know the colors. Well, I assumed when I got there because everybody was wearing red and black. And then we got in the stadium, and the stadium, I'm getting chills right now. Stadium was packed. It was just the most. It was like I was in heaven. And I was like, I looked at my dad. I remember looking at my dad, and I was just a kid. I was like, "Yeah, this is my team. I don't know who they are. I don't know what they're called." Learned it was the Bulldogs, and this was 99. So it really wasn't a specific play, but I mean, the hobnail boot, was just like 2 years later. That was my first like big game, big memory watching on TV and seeing that. But yeah, it was just the atmosphere that sucked me in, man.
And let me tell you something, like what made me real proud about Georgia when Uga almost bit that Auburn wide receiver. I love that.
I actually got it right here.
Uh-oh.
You should have chomped down like a crocodile. That's what I'm talking about. Look at him.
Sir.
That's the most action that wideout got all day.
Well, and that's the thing, and college football has been so great. And I guess we're going to kind of miss some of the stuff. Like, look, it's not even my team, but I remember going to an Arkansas game, and I'm going to end it on this, and I'll let y'all have yours last bit. Y'all, I can't remember what year it was. I'm sure I can look it up here real fast, but I was walking to Razorback Stadium, walking up to Razorback Stadium to go to a game, right? And I'm listening intently on the radio. And as I'm walking halfway up there, they announce over the whole intercom where you can hear, and it was September 1st, 2007, App State beat Michigan. And I was like, I remember turning around looking at everybody, and I go, "This is why I love college football." Yeah. When a little team named App State can block a field goal, run that something, like do that shit, like what the hell? Like that'll never happen again because Michigan's going to have too much money. App State will never have enough or whoever. But 34, it was 34-32. It was a 34-32 game. Right? But that's things.
2007 season was nuts, Pops.
Oh, it was. That whole thing was absolutely.
See, I'll say this and I'll shut up. But like the 2007 season, so before the 2007 season, I was strictly Georgia fan. I didn't watch Alabama, didn't watch Arkansas. I just only watched Georgia. If they weren't on TV, I went and hung out with my buddies. It was that 2007 season that made me a college football fan, where I watched all the games because of that Michigan Appalachian. It started that game and that whole 2007 season. If I remember right, there was one point we had the South Florida Bulls as the number 2 team in the country. I think at one point Kansas State was number 1 or something. It was like teams that you wouldn't see today as number 1.
Right.
I remember that. Yeah, South Florida. Yeah, I remember that.
Look, this is from Jamal. I was high school practice during triple sessions. They stopped practice because of it.
Yeah.
First off, if you're practicing for football on a Saturday in high school, you're wrong because that's college football time. That's the way it used to be. Now it's totally different.
Jamal say that's why he a champion.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Too bad Florida's not, but that's okay. That's okay. Florida's coming back. But anyway, with that being said, guys, and Chris, thank you for jumping on and sharing that memory.
Thanks, Chris.
Absolutely. And everybody, y'all give Chris a hand for that new look he's got going on right there. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. He decided he was going to shave and look young again. So look at him. Look at him with them pearly whites.
Jamal's texting me now about it. So, all right, guys.
All right, peace, brother.
All right, brother.
Hey, with that, you remember wrong.
I sent the wrong one.
Mm-hmm. Sure, that's what they all say. I think there was a little bit of something else involved right there. Georgia guy. Mm-hmm. No, but hey, you know what? I appreciate going down memory lane here with this, and I'll tell everybody right now. We got some viewers on here. Next week, I'm going to do a breakdown of Arkansas Razorback football. I know that probably don't excite you, but I'm going to make it exciting.
No, we want it.
You're going to come on and you're going to watch this. I may even have a guest or two. I may try to get a Richard Davenport or Otis Kirk to jump on for 20 seconds and give me some. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to make it exciting, damn it. And you're going to watch and you listen. And right now,
Phil still don't got nothing on this.
That's right. Phil still ain't got nothing. But you know, with that being said, y'all, I appreciate all the viewers that are out there sticking with us right now, 5 minutes after our hour. Thank you so much. And if this is your first time here, please, look, my hands are up. Hit that subscribe button. Get us some subscriptions. That's how we get our message out. If you're on X, come on over to YouTube. Hit that button right there. Hit that subscribe button. And that, like I said, that's how we get our message out. And we are the Veteran Sports Voice Podcast. We are college sports spoken by those who served. Myself served both in the Army and in the Navy. My guy McCancer served in the Navy. We both were in the Submariner service, the Secret Service, Silent Service. And we you know what? I look back on that and I wouldn't change a thing. I enjoyed, and as I'm older, I appreciate all the stints I did in the military. And you know what? And everybody's out there. It's summertime right now. Everybody's having good times, fun times. Hey, do me a favor. Check on your veterans. Everybody knows a veteran. Check on them. Tell them they care. Tell them they matter. Tell them you love them. You know what? If you know a Gold Star family, and a Gold Star family is someone that lost a member in the line of service, whether that was an accident or a training accident or in real world service to our country, you know what? Honor them. Let them know that you think about them, care about them. And you know what? And you know what? And if you're an active duty service member, you're out there watching right now. Hey, man, I salute you. We've been on that wall. We know about that wall. And I thank you so much for standing on that wall so we can do what we're doing right now. Thank you. You just can't be thanked enough, and we sure appreciate you. And with that being said, I'm going to let my guy Ian close out right here because you know what? I'm going to let him tell you about something he's doing. Are you water fasting? You look like a man who's water fasting, sir.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm water fasting. And so I don't have my trusty cup of good or what I have, but I do have water. And so I've spoken about it before, but, my wife and I, it's her birthday week. And, what we try to do is something intentional, every birthday. I remember I might try to run an extra mile or whatever, but, with this week, we're going to water fast. And the benefits of it, we're not just talking about weight loss, man. Like, if you really, really water fast and you can put your body in a state of ketosis, and it's really cellular change, cellular change. And so, yes, you can lose weight, but if you do not, eat anything that creates a insulin reaction, and then, your body's miraculous and it repairs your cells. And, in 3 days, you can, change out most of the cells in your body. So we're trying to do it 5. And so today is day 1. And so, man, it's all water and prayers. And so, man, we appreciate your well wishes as we, but it's for my wife's birthday. So, we can't fail.
I hear you. Well, happy birthday to Miss Ian McCants coming up. This is her birthday week. And to my wife, thank you so much for bringing that fresh grilled hamburger in earlier before the show started, where I got to nail that down.
Man, he want to talk about food.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna keep it real, dog. I'm gonna keep it real.
Right.
No. But with that being said, hey brother, I appreciate the show. I know it was kind of a last second idea thing, but you know what? I had fun with it. It was nice to reminisce. It was nice to reminisce and go down memory lane, and
Good
I
topic,
hope,
man. Good topic.
yeah,
And sometimes we get into this and we talk about this and that and controversy, and we enrage these fan bases. But at the end of the day, it's a sport, and don't forget what it means to you. And so I think that that's what that show did, because like honestly, man, I wasn't feeling excitement, even down to the video game, and so
right.
here we are and thinking about, those early moments I had that made me a fan. And so, very timely show.
Absolutely. And with that being said, guys, we out of here. We will see y'all next week. You know what? We're going to try. I'm going to try to get us back on schedule, on our right schedule.
Friday.
But not this Friday. We're going to do the Friday after next, right? Is that good? Is that right? Is that what you want to do? Or do you want to do one this?
I'm good.
You tell.
Yeah.
We're going to come back on a Friday.
Let's go.
It might be
Let's
a
go,
Friday.
Friday.
Okay, we're going to do one on Friday. So we're going to have a show on Friday. I'm going to bring the hog business, and we're going to go from there. And with that being said, peace, love, and happiness, and salute to all you guys. And we'll see y'all next this upcoming Friday.
Roll Tide.
Go Hogs.